Birds of Prey 14, Legacy number 212. This is Kelly Thompson with SAMI BASRI on the art. So, start of a new arc, which is exciting, and very interesting start it is. So, the book starts with what's supposedly Cassandra Cain getting out of a fancy elevator in like a big penthouse kind of thing, and she's got hair slicked back, sunglasses on, she's wearing like a really fancy white waistcoat.
She's reminding me a lot we salina.
Yeah, it's a very Catwoman look, yeah. And it says Cassandra Cain, sorta. And then we find out, and I really like this reveal actually once we got into it. She goes in and talks to these big wigs who weren't sure like if they wanted to trust her, so they had like a guy attack her, and she beats up all their henchmen, and then says, "Clearly, you need more time to think about this. I'll reschedule it for noon." And she sounds like a corporate bigwig who's like, "My time's too important. I'll come back at noon. You better be ready." So what it turns out is when we cut to Babs and Dinah back at the clock tower, is that we're doing some old school Birds of Prey spy stuff, but it's Cass who's the undercover. She's the one who's actually going in and doing the mission. And Dinah's frustrated by that, but Babs points out that, hey, you made yourself famous by being in a rock band. We can't use you for the spy work anymore, which I thought was an interesting touch.
So having read the All In special, right?
Yes.
I'm like, oh, is this here because she can't control her new powers, right? Can't have her out there.
Doesn't seem like it.
No. And then she makes that, oh, you're the one that went out there to become a pop star. And I was like, oh, okay, I like this more. Yeah, she can't be discreet because she's Black Canary.
This is funnier, yeah. Plus, I think having that bleed into this Birds of Prey book, like her having powers for a while, would make it feel like it would be harder to like read this run on its own. So I'm glad that they're just kind of dodging around it. I like this idea. I also like that they said the cast would rotate a bit, and it has, but I do really appreciate that it feels like Cass and Barda are definitely permanent. It really, now that they're both in this one again, it feels like, okay, Babs, Dinah, Cass, and Barda are the core team, and then it's the others who are, rotating in or out.
And to that I say, let's go, because I have loved, we already liked Cass before, right? Now we're big fans on the show, but Barda, especially this version of Barda, has won my heart. And so but it's funny that you mentioned that, because I'm looking at the alternate covers as we're talking, and there's a Kelly Jones Halloween cover, and it has those four characters. It's Babs, Cass, Barda, and Dinah on there. So seems like that's what the vibe DC wants.
Yeah. Plus, given who Cass is, her having to role play as like this hotshot is actually quite funny, because like it feels like she probably would be quite, I don't know if nervous is the right word, but like it does feel like it's a bit out of her element, so forcing her to do this does actually feel quite entertaining, to just push her a little bit. So it turns out what the mission is, though, is that they believe that this company has kidnapped Amazons, right? 5 Amazons, and they're doing something, they're extracting DNA or something to do nefarious things with.
Because they're a health and wellness company that's almost more like a cult. So you're getting kind of this hippy dippy kind of vibe from the main CEO when Cass is talking to him, and then you find out that they're a wellness company and they're doing something with the Amazon. So of course Nubia's not excited about that. So she's in contact with the birds. I like that it's also tying back to the Amazons and that first story arc.
Well, that's what I was just going to say, is that this is actually kind of the birds try to make good for that and saying, hey, we'll help you out with this, we'll do this quietly and get you your Amazons back. And I like that there's a clear kind of, like you said, connection back to that first story where there was a bit of a rift that formed, and this can possibly mend it. And given that the Amazons are what they are, and the Birds of Prey is kind of the prominent female team in the DC Comics, I do kind of like there being a little bit of interplay between them, and like there being kind of a relationship there that they're actually building up by having them fall out and now sort of try and repair potentially. Also, Barda's training with 2 Amazons who are at the Birds headquarters, and they're basically saying, hey, should we be scared of like sparring with her because she took down Wonder Woman, or she almost did anyway. And they go in and basically get cocky, start punching Barda, and Barda just looks like she's enjoying herself. She's just throwing them around and taking the punches. She's impressed that they get her helmet off, but it's not looking too hot. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a fun sequence. It's more of like Barda's like comedy gold, to be honest.
Yes. So, do you recognize the redheaded with tattoos? Amazon?
Yeah, is that Artemis?
No, that's
No?
Grace from way back in the day, in the Outsiders days. She was part of Nightwing's Outsiders team.
Oh,
and
okay.
she, back then she was half Ben and McDowell, right? And she, went around from home to home. So her main thing was she was always looking for a family, and she found acceptance from the Outsiders. And yeah, so to see her pop back up here, knowing what Kelly Thompson's capable of taking these characters, and I'm very excited because to see how she played out here against Barda and the quips and all this other stuff, I'm like, okay, it's been a while since we've seen Grace in the pages of DC, so
yeah, I don't think I remember her from anything, honestly. I just saw a redhead and made some assumptions.
Any doubt that I would recognize who the redheaded character was? None, right?
Yeah, massive pervert. Everyone knows this.
sorry, I have a type.
Which, notably, your wife is not part of that type. How does she feel about this type?
Listen. I also don't look like Chris Evans. It's fine.
That's the trade-off. I don't look like Chris Evans and you're not a redhead. All right, we just make do with it.
Yeah, we're good.
Oh, dear. So, yeah, bit of comedy, all fun, breaks up the middle a bit. And then, the end of the book is like, okay, it's the meeting again. Cass goes back up. She talks to these guys, and they take her down a secret entrance, an elevator, to a vault where we do indeed have 5 Amazons all hooked up. One's in a tank and 4 are sort of on tables with like VR headsets on and stuff. And that's the cliffhanger. It says Bird Undercover Part 1, and that's cool. I'm into this. I'm into Cass being sort of out of her comfort zone and having to play a role that she's not used to. It's kind of fun.
And the fact that Thompson's gone out of her way to show the relationship between Barda and Cass, so that if Small Bat gets into trouble, she's not going to hesitate to go save her friend.
Absolutely. I even like that moment where she's like, I should have went on this mission instead. And they're like, Barda, Spyworks about blending in. You can't do that. Only for her to be like, well, Spyworks stupid then.
Yeah. Again, I love this version of Barda. But yeah, so just knowing that too, that relationship is still there, and if that's what it gets down to. But yeah, what is this company doing? Because they seem like they're a healthcare line. So what exactly are they extracting from these Amazons and selling?
I don't think it's for the healthcare stuff. I've got a feeling that they're doing something
like genetic altering.
They're selling DNA to like military or something. I feel like it's something beyond what their front companies do. I don't think it's just like, oh, this is, I mean, maybe it will just be amazing, like, oh, we've got this face cream that's like perfect because it comes from Amazon skin or something. I don't know.
No, I don't think that. I just mean like what is the ultimate, because they are, like you said, they're hooked up to VR headsets and whatnot. And there's one that looks like a Bacta tank from Star Wars.
Well, I mean, they look, I say VR headsets because they look like that, but they could be doing something else. It may not be showing them something. It might be, I don't know, scanning their eyes or something. I mean, for all we know.
Keeping them calm or whatever. Like, but yeah. And this group too, pretty, what's the word? Like you have the hippy dippy main guy who looks like a yoga master, and then his like security and whatnot. Like they both stand out really well, right? They don't seem like disposable villains. So looking forward to see where this goes. And Basri's art, all of that, the fight sequence with Barda is handled very well. Like the breakdowns, the layouts, all of that makes for a real nice change of pace from the more spy stuff. So all around great.
I don't really have any complaints, to be honest. It was a fun read. It's always kind of comforting hearing Kelly Thompson write these characters and their chemistry, the banter between them, the jokes. The setup of this premise is really fun, especially since we did so much with like the demon stuff on Themyscira in the first arc, and then the sort of the not a dimension, but the the weird world
pocket universe
that we were in. I kind of like that this one doesn't have any like overly supernatural elements. It's just more of a straight spy story. I think a more grounded arc is exactly what I wanted from the next one. So I'm pleased that's what they're doing. So cool. What are you giving Shazam? No, it's not Shazam. That's next. Birds of Prey 14.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Excellent.